Yo, 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 what's going on? Monday is in the building. It's crazy. So let's jump right on into it. Um, Let me share my screen. Screen here. All right, so last week was pretty crazy. Didn't expect too much coming into Friday, but Tesla did move surprisingly while the markets weren't moving as aggressively toward the upside, but um, well, actually, the reverse is true. So the markets was moving aggressively toward the upside, but Tesla was moving aggressively toward the downside. But then it did a V-shaped recovery and began to move. So right now, though, it looks like Tesla in the pre-market is down 0.65%. Let's see, last update. Here we closed 0.66% last week. So let's jump into my journal real quick before we jump over to the news. Friday, I did, let's see, I did capture, wait, the 27th. That have been hold on, let me, is that right? Oh, yeah, that's right. So last week, Thursday and Friday, I did take a couple of trades. Wasn't expecting too much on Friday, but Thursday I did make over $700. I was actually up 1,000. Um, should have just went ahead and got out, but that's you know I say shoulda in reflection, but I'm just kidding. It's not like really a big deal. It's when the market present whatever the market presents, right? Let's say you're up 1,500. You you've already reached your target goal, and you're like, well, I could jump out here, or I could let it ride. Basically, like say for example, you bought 5 contracts, and once you hit your target, you could begin scaling out of that position, right? So um 3 contracts, then 4 contracts, and then let's say you just got 1 contract trailing, and you're hoping that the market continues in the direction that you bet on, but sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. And when it begins not to work in the opposite direction or work against you, it's just a coin toss for the most part. Like the pattern, what you can't predict which way the market is going to go, but the market does presents these patterns, and we take trades based on those patterns because they match a certain strategy, right? And that's it. That's pretty much the key of it. But within real time, like every single 1 minute candle, 5 minute candle, 10 minutes, the 1 minutes obviously is closer to real time, right? Because every second the market is moving, price buyers are buying, sellers are selling, and it's a continuous auction. So you don't know like how strong or aggressively some huge institution is going to buy options or sell options. And that's what I mean. It's when those larger institutions buy, large volumes of option contracts, it could significantly or aggressively push um, the price up or down. And so when you're in it, sometimes sometimes you're in it when it works for you, in your favor, and sometimes you're in it when it works against you. So, but yeah, I was up 1,000 on Thursday, but Friday, I took a couple of trades. If you go back here, yeah, starting on the 27th, first trade was aggressive trade, lost 10%, just about of the overall position, right? The total entry was $610, 2 contracts, so $305 each. This is what I was saying. I'm testing out these types of these cheaper contracts for Tesla, but you can actually make money, right? See, like I made 11%, so I recouped the money that I lost. This is an aggressive entry, like I said. Had I just been patient and just waited, then I would have been up. You know, I actually would have been up more than this because I would have stayed in longer, based on this entry, being that I would, jumped up basically 12%, I would have had one contract trailing instead of exiting both contracts. So as you can see here, I had one contract that exit at 8:45, so 3 minutes later, and then 8:48. Because the way the market was looking, but it ended up taking off. That's why I said like Friday was crazy because it ended up taking off and did a slight move like four, five, $6. I can't remember which, but we're gonna take a look at it. And then I, jumped in again, but because of the entry, it was like I can't take that risk. I was up like I think it was 5%, and then it started to pull back a little bit. So I was like, I'm not gonna lose all 3% that I, for the target. So I jumped out with a gain of $10. So um 70, 80, close to $80. So $20, uh almost a $20, well, minus fees, right? That's why it's 18, but $20, close to like $23 or something like that. So yeah, coming into today, I don't expect much, but especially with the markets being down. So let's take a look at the markets first. Well, we will take a look at the markets, but first let's take a look at news, potential red folder and orange folder news to see what could impact us today. Wow, I don't even see much. So we already had some orange folder news, and we have some at two. So I don't even expect to be in the market by two p.m. So um, yeah, so should be a pretty clean day today. Let's take a look at. Let's do a quick refresh and see. Slowly, slowly. All right, so let's refresh. Tesla hires. That's what I wanted. I kept that open just cause. Let's go here. I got these two open because I wanted to talk about that a little bit. Lost money on Tesla. There's a you may have been affected by fraud. Yeah, so there's a lawsuit going on. There's a lawsuit going on. Tesla stock is rising while it faces a new threat from China. Da, da, da. That's not Tesla hires social. Da, 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 da. Where's it at? Oh, let's open this one up. Thought I had it opened already. So apparently, there's some concerns about violations of federal securities law, like Tesla debuted it, well, for the Robotaxi launch. So definitely going to keep an eye out on this because that's crazy, right? Like, um, it's reported that following this news, Tesla stock price fell sharply. It did. This investigation concerns whether Tesla and certain of its officers and/or directors have engaged in securities fraud or other unlawful business practices to obtain business practices. So the other article had a bit more information, but I can't remember, so I don't want to say something that may not be accurate. But yeah, so this is the investigation. So I'm gonna keep keep an eye out on this. But let's see, do we have anything else? Tesla says first autonomous vehicle delivery in U.S. completed. Let's see what that says. 12 minutes ago, Tesla has completed the first autonomous vehicle delivery in the U.S. according to separate Saturday post on the social media platform X by the company and its chief executive. In its post, Tesla said a Tesla Model Y vehicle drove itself for 30 minutes from the company's Gigafactory in Texas to the customer's home address. Yo, that's dope. That's dope. Um, that's just the Robo Taxi. All of that's cool. This is just the vehicle by which you test the AI, right? But their business is solely going to be focusing on um, AI and robotics. They're making this shift from just being like vehicles to AI and robotics, and that's going to be it's basically just a technology driven company. And robotics, or let's say the robotaxi, is just the application of that technology, right? So that's the direction that Tesla's headed. So this obviously this could fuel some movement once the market opens, but we'll see. We'll see. All right, we'll see. So let's see what else. Tesla stock drops. Market chatter: Tesla launches V4 superchargers operation in China. Let's see what that says real quick. Tesla first batch of V4 superchargers is now operational in China with installations in da 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 province. Reuters reported Monday today. So deployment will gradually begin. All right, province and other regions, and the superchargers will be open to additional electric vehicle brands. Oh, so they will be helping out their competition. It looks like too. Like, but this is dope. That's why I said, like, you can see even with this, right? This is an example of like the tech. They're becoming a tech. They're shifting towards becoming a technology just based company. It's not just, and then you have the applications of this technology. So stay tuned for more. We'll continue to keep an eye out on that. Let me close this. Trump tariffs and inflation could rain on stock markets. I'm expecting that. That's July. I think it's July 6th or 7th. Let's see. Oh, July 9th. Okay, so for new trade deals may not be that firm, the White House said last July 9th. Hold on, let me make sure. SV finished late. This June jobs report out Thursday this week instead of Friday because of the July 4th holiday is expected to show companies are still hiring and there's still hope. But it's still not looms. Uh, da, That's not what I'm looking for. What's next in addition? Hold on. Heats up, erasing the big drops that follow sweeping U.S. tariffs in April. The question is whether these vibes are as good as they get. On trade, things are looking up. Talks with Canada are back on track after the U.S. biggest export market rescinded a digital services tax that would have hit Amazon, Google, parent, Facebook. Okay, so July 9th deadline for new trade deals may not be that firm. Okay, so the tariffs are supposed to go into effect or expire July 9th. So I'll keep an eye out on that. Budget bill is making its way through the Senate, and the tax cuts it contains could provide a boost for corporate earnings, but not for solar energy. The economy isn't doing too badly, and we're waiting for the jobs report. And there's some hope might cut as soon as July 30th. Okay, we'll see, but it's not all sunshine. Yeah, big dent on corporate earnings that may well change in the second half. Okay, so we'll keep an eye out on that. That's going to be key, right? The second half of the year. A good test will be earnings from its Modelo brand and its best-selling beer in the U.S. overtaking Bud Light. Dang, Modelo took over. All right, cool. So um, we'll see. I'll keep an eye on this. I'm actually keep this news. Let me check for something else. Tesla falls as U.S. Senate. LFP. Is that the? I think that's the. Okay, I'm gonna check into that. Oh, this was it. Okay, so that's old. Tesla stock falls. Let's see. This is the last one, I think. Fall 9% to 320 pre-market. U.S. Senate push forward the sweeping tax cut and spending. The revised bill would end the EV credit. Yeah, so this is important. Okay, so um, let's see if there's a sell-off. Musk has said the latest version will destroy millions of jobs, then called it utterly insane and destructive. Stock 24 brokerages rate the stock buy and higher. Okay. So yeah, we'll keep an eye on that. Let me close. That's crazy. All right, let's take a look at the markets. What's going on right now? Whoa. Okay, so SPY jumped up today. Dang, that's crazy. Whoa, look at this. Let's zoom out. Okay, so it looks like we're at, let me change to the month view. Oh, we're at all-time highs. Yep. All right, so the market is really, really bullish. Okay, so that's crazy. SMH. Okay, looks like we're doing some sort of V-shaped recovery. Um, I'll keep an eye on that later. Let's take a look at Tesla, and then I'll go over my game plan and call it a day. All right, so looks like you see this. This is it looks like a bridge, but what we have, you can see like on after the open, we dropped and then made this aggressive push. And I actually spoke about this in the pre-market prep that this was likely to happen, but then it would drop. Like I said, if it did do this, I didn't anticipate, continuation, but that it would quickly begin to, drop. And so it quickly dropped and then consolidated for a bit, side to side trading, and then it, dropped before the market closed at three. Did do a little bit of recovery, but as you can see, even in the pre-market, post-market, we consolidated. Pre-market today, coming into today, we dropped, pullback. So this is cool. We retested this zone. So 318.30 is the key level here. So you got 318. The previous day low was 317 and change. So this is the pricing zone. Okay, so we got this pricing zone between these two levels. And if we look back, if I go to the 15-minute, if we look back, we do have multiple touches in this zone, right? Um, so Friday, June 20th, and June 12th, Thursday in the pre-market. Okay, so yeah, it looks like liquidity buyers are sitting here at this zone for the most part. You can see if we pull this up. So here's the zone we're in, right? And you can see within this pricing zone, if I box this in, you take a look at this, box this in, right? this zone right here, we can see buyers are in this zone, and it looks like we're pushing the stock back up. So we'll see. We'll check the reaction. What I what I like to see is in the market open that we basically, once the market opens, we kind of, slowly, or slowly would be great. Slowly would be great. Make our way back down to this pricing zone, either the pre-market low or the previous day low, and I'd like to see the reaction off of these key levels. If we bounce off these levels, that's what I'll be looking to take a trade. Not for too much continuation, but I will take a trade that will, for a sniping opportunity. And I don't know, I'm cool with, just a $300 move or gain, or 500 or 1,000, something like that. Either way, either one is cool. I'm cool with $100 gain. Um, like Friday, right? $80, $100. So if we do that, great. That would help me be able to confirm the bottom, right? Because we slowly dropped and then rejected off of this, and I could, you know, see more clearly that we're probably going to, most likely going to reverse, might even break above this key level here, but I don't expect too much. I'm assuming that we might, even if we did this, um, that we might end up consolidating a bit, probably for the rest of the day. Um, but if now, if we aggressively drop and retest this zone, that is that type of aggressive move toward the downside to this pricing zone would indicate that, same as on the opposite direction, right? When I showed you guys in the previous pre-market preps last week that we had an aggressive move to the upside without any pullback candles, right, on the higher time frames. And what that indicates is that we're going to drop aggressively, and that's exactly what we did. And same thing, if we drop aggressively in the open, that means we're going to have a reversal, right? A reversal is likely, and I'll be looking for that. And I might take a larger position, and that larger position could net, you know, 900, 1,500, 2,000, 3,000, or more. It just depends. So I'll be looking for that coming into today. I don't expect us to break, too high above like these key zones, but I will be checking the reaction, off this key level. We might, reject off this level and kind of consolidate. You know, if we retest a couple of times, that'll be interesting, right? Because I like to see between the second and third retest, do we break above? And if we break above, do we stay? Do we continue? Is it an aggressive continuation, or is it just like a slow grind? And do we pull back? And I'll be looking specifically for the pullback. If we pull back and retest this zone and use this zone as support, then there could be a signs for a continuation to the upside. So that's what I'll be looking for coming into today. But other than that, I really don't expect Tesla to move with the news that we're looking for. We don't have any red folder news, and the orange folder news is until later in the day. So with that said, I don't know. I'm cool either way. I don't really have a strong urgency to like trade today. I'm thinking of mostly just like probably just getting some errands done today, especially if we don't rain. If we don't rain, if we rain, I'm staying in. If it rains, I'm staying in. I'm not going anywhere because I don't like going out in the rain to get wet. All right, but coming into the market, looks like, see, like this wick. That's what I said. Buyers are definitely in this zone. See, we're here. Look at the wick. Look at the wick on this one. This was Friday, June 20th. Um, so 2 weeks ago. And look at the wick on this zone. So we did tap it twice, right? So Friday and today we tapped it twice. So let's see what happens. Maybe we come in the open. Like I said, I'm not expecting an exact, tap in this area. Okay. It doesn't have to be exact, but we might come in and like come close to this zone and then reject. Might even come back a little closer again, but reject and then start to slowly grind or aggressively push back up toward this key level 322.55. So this is cool because even you have the wicks here as well. So this retest anywhere in this zone is fine for me because we already have this test here on Friday. Look at this wick here in the open. This was crazy. That's what I said. Like I was like, yo, what is buyers are definitely liquidity is resting at this level right now. So until as long as I don't see something like this where we break below, you know, aggressively, something like this, and then come back and kind of retest this zone, but then continue heavy, toward the downside. Either way, I'll look for a sniping opportunity because it doesn't matter to me. I'm looking to make money in either direction. I'm not biased towards a direction. Obviously, the market tends to have a bias toward the upside. So stocks, the idea is for stocks to move up in price, not necessarily down, but they will based on some sort of news or important event, critical event, right? So that's it for me. I'm going to call it a day. I'm going to wrap up here. If you found value in this, like I said, I only focus on Tesla. I'm continuously learning from my mentors. I have two. One that I actively trade with during their live sessions each and every single day. My second mentor, he's the one I'm trading with. He primarily trades the Tesla and the other tech stocks like the semiconductors and the Mag 7, right? So his primary focus is Tesla as well. And that's why I joined his community. And it's been nice. As you can see from my trade journal, I'm wrapping up the month nicely. Okay. Made, as you can see, over 6,000 or $7,000. And I lost 23. So that's why I have a net gain this month of 5K. So that's cool, man. Like that's cool for me. I'm looking forward to July to see what happens in July. That's why I'm just like, today's the 30th. I'm not really tripping if, the market doesn't move, or I'm not looking to take like a big position to make, this kind of money. But I'm okay with, $100, 200, 300, you know, that's cool with me. But all right, y'all, I'm dropping the mic right here. It's your man Ace. I'm out. Till next video. All right.